RAM OCS. DSP Power Pack Setup. Once the OCS software has been installed, we execute and we start to scan the devices by pressing the magnifying glass icon to refresh the device tree. The software detects all the modules connected to the Ethernet network or the USB interface, and they are shown in the tree list. To open a device, we double-click and a window appears to control the module in user mode. To access full manufacturer configuration, we need to press the mode icon and introduce the default admin password. This way we have access to the manufacturer mode. In this window you have different tabs, and the first one is the cabinet tab. This is where the manufacturer has to introduce the speaker data. To start, you can write the brand name, the model, and change the password for access manufacturer mode. You can also configure what level of control you want to give to the end user by changing the next options. Allow DSP input control. This allows the user to change the input process. Allow module DSP input selection. This allows the user to change the input process memories by double-clicking directly on the module buttons. Then you can configure the amplifier gain independently for each channel. You can also change the name assigned to each channel label. Lastly, you need to configure the speaker impedance. This step is compulsory. To finish, you have to press the button Program in Configuration to send all this data to the module. Now you can start defining a new preset process. You can go to the DSP Edit tab and select the process button you want to configure. For example, in this case, we start to change the gain. On the left side you have the input gain. In this case it is not possible to change as you have allowed the end user to control this section. On the right side you have the gain control for channel A and channel B. Now for example, you can go to the crossover section and define the low and high pass of each output. In the graphic window below you can see the final frequency response, which is always what you are hearing if you have selected the real-time process mode in the top menu. The next step, for example, can be to change the parametric equalization. First, select the channel you want to modify, remove the bypass tick of the desired filter and select the filter type. Now you can modify the parameters using the mouse. This can be done with as many filters you need, in both channels. If you want to use FIR filter, you have to go to the FIR Out tab, select the channel and remove the bypass. Then you have two options: to load external coefficients generated with a third-party software, or simulate a standard crossover or filters using the right-hand side of the window. For example, in this case we are going to remove the IIR that we have put before and replace it with a FIR high pass with flat phase. Also, of course, you can add all the FIR filters you need with flat phase. In this FIR configuration you can limit the number of tabs you want to use to limit the latency you will have, which is shown at the top. Please note that the crossover and filter IIR simulation may not be precise at low frequency of high Q, taps number dependent. Next, we can configure the delay section, for example. Again we have the left side with the input section, which we cannot modify in this case, and on the right side the delay for each output. Lastly, we can configure the dynamics section. Select the channel you want to modify and remove the bypass tick for the RMS and peak section and configure as desired. In the RMS section you define directly the output power in watts, taking into account the impedance you have configured at the beginning. In the peak section you configure the maximum peak output you can have in volts, and in the bottom info box you can see the corresponding value in watts. We have now defined the complete process and we are going to save it as a library preset. To do this, we go to the Library tab, we select a preset number from the list, we introduce a name and we press the Send to Preset Number button. This way we have sent this preset to the module library. You also have the option of receiving to the current process, which you are seeing in the frequency response window, any pre-saved preset by pressing the Received from Preset Number button. For example, we create a new preset and we save it to preset number 2, and now we receive the first preset created by pressing the Receive button or by double-clicking in the list. There are other possibilities such as to save or open the current process to a file on the hard disk, using the Open or Save buttons, or by right-clicking on the list to a specific preset number. Take note that the first 4 presets in the list will be the presets that you can select directly using the module buttons. If any of these 4 presets are empty, they are automatically mute to avoid any problems. You can change the preset order by using the Move Up/Move Down buttons. To select any of these 4 presets directly using the module buttons, you have to press the desired number on the module for 3 seconds. Once the library has been defined, you can save the complete library to a hard disk file using the Save Library button on the top menu. Take note that you can change any parameter you have defined in the Cabinet tab at any time, but if you change the gain or speaker impedance data, the software has to send the complete library to the module again. This is done automatically after confirmation. Remember that when you change any parameter in this cabinet window, you have to press the Programmer in Configuration button to send all this data to the module. Once the module has been completely programmed, you can go back to basic user mode by pressing the Mode button again. A small window will appear where the end user has the option to mute any input or output, and also, if the manufacturer has allowed, the user has access to the DSP input section. When you open this section, the end user has the option to change the current preset by selecting a name in a list and pressing the Recall button. They can also change the input gain, polarity, delay, or add any filter from the list. Once the user has made a configuration for the input section, they have the option to save it in a memory using the Memories tab. They need to add a name and select a memory number and press the button Send to selected memory. The user can, at any time, recall this memory using the Recall Memory button, or if the manufacturer has allowed, by double-clicking on the Module button. The module LEDs will show the input memory selected by blinking.